I started out in Kansas City, Missouri. We lived in a little podunky place called Hickman Mills. It was very rural, and I loved it. My grandfather was a night watchman at the Nelson Atkins Art Gallery in Kansas City. His name was Art. I figure that's where it started. I'm Carolyn Schmitz. I'm an artist. I live in Prescott, Arizona, and I've been an artist pretty much all my life. I learned to love art from my mother and my grandmother. They always squeezed in creative things whenever they could. They were creative people, and I guess it was passed on to me. It was just a very encouraged environment for art. We lived in Missouri until I was 7 years old, and then we moved to Arizona. We moved to Prescott, and that's where I grew up. We loved it here. My childhood here was fantastic. As kids, we entertained ourselves. A lot of times our city friends or relatives would say, "What do you guys do out here?" We were never bored. Rocks were a big part of my childhood. At different places in the woods, there were groupings of rocks that almost looked like castles to us. I decided to go to art school because it was pretty much just the obvious choice. There was nothing else I was interested in or suited for. In 2000, I moved back to Prescott, which is where I wanted to be anyway, because I missed home, I missed the forest, and it was just time to come back here and be with my parents while they were still here. I had a studio to work in, so I just started painting some of the things that I had ideas for, and they were usually based on nature, things in nature, plants or animals, but I usually gave them kind of a little bit of a twist. And I think about that time is when the cactus shoe thing started. A friend of mine wanted a little painting, and she always wore flip-flops. It suddenly occurred to me that a lot of the cactus that I grew in my yard in Phoenix looked like the soles of shoes. So I just took off from there. You know, the sole of the rubber flip-flop looked like the pad of one of those prickly pears. Then the whole thing just started from there. Everything I saw in nature started to look like you could make something else out of it. I feel like my artwork actually shows a fluid and permeable boundary between animals and plants. To me, they're kind of they're all part of the same world. I've been working on the Desert Dada series for about 12 years. That's ongoing. We refresh the line with new paintings every so often. There are maybe 35 or 36 different images. I love animals. I love painting them, and it's fun, you know. I enjoy it. In fact, I just finished 2 more paintings for the Desert Dada series: The Raven's Friend and The Belly Dancer. Art is just what I love to do. I can't help it. I don't know why I have to do it. Sometimes it seems like it's just not really me. I'm just sort of getting instructions or getting images from somewhere, and I just do it. And it might come from inside of me, but I don't know for sure where it comes from. The chapel here is an important place to me still, and it was during my childhood. My sister and I used to dress up as saints and go in and out and pretend that we were nuns or whatever. And the family also gathered in there for prayers, you know, if there was anything that we needed to pray for, like somebody being sick or injured, or you know, a forest fire, or you know, anything happening to the country even. I've done a wide variety of art over the years. I'm always working on a lot of different things at one time. My longest project is probably the Rock City. It started with a little rock that looked like a house that I picked up. And from there I started picking up rocks that had any kind of architectural shape at all. And that was 18 years ago. And the collection grew pretty huge. And then I started putting them all together into architectural structures, mainly skyscrapers. My current piece is, I've only been working on it for a few months, but the idea evolved starting maybe 5 years ago, and I'm just now getting around to it. So it's just one of those things that pops into my head, and the falling embers and the agave and the chandelier and the man carrying it and all that is just, it's just all the right things that just sort of all come together, and then there's this thing that I suppose has a tremendous amount of meaning, hopefully. This is one of the most beautiful places on earth, in my opinion, and I am really, really lucky that I got to grow up here and that I got to come back, which is rare. It's just so beautiful. I mean, I'm inspired because I think creating beauty or sharing beauty with other people is the most important thing.